Hey VC, Tara coming at you with another video. So I've missed you guys, right? I've been away for a while, and so I'm now back to do another video, and I wanted to just kind of update you guys in terms of what I've been listening to recently, what I've gotten recently, and just sort of share some recent musings and all of that. But first, I want to do some shout outs. You know how I like to do. So shout out to Aiden Buck. I discovered Aiden through tunes from the Man Cave. He has a jazz vinyl tag up, and Aiden Buck is this kid. I mean, I'm not even sure if he's more than 17 or 18, right? And he just, his passion for music, for jazz music, and his enthusiasm, and just his whole presentation and delivery, and his complete authenticity. It's just so refreshing and so wonderful. And I mean, if I were 18 and had that knowledge, I mean, yeah, I'm so impressed with him. So big up to Aiden, and please go support his channel if you're into jazz. And I think he has some other things coming up too, but I mean, I've seen that he recently did a follow-up jazz video to the jazz tag, so please go and support his channel, and I'm sure you'll find him so engaging as I did. And also want to shout out to Lavelle Andrew, whose videos I really enjoy. Lavelle, you're the reason why I'm knee deep right now into some serious Kenny Durham on account of you, and so thanks for that. I am like, right now I am knee deep into that Latin jazz hard bop fusion. I am very lost in that right now, and it's you that really got me into that, right? So big up to Lavelle. I enjoy Lavelle so much, and his Instagram is so cool. You'll get like super envious when you check out his Instagram. I mean, his whole setup at home, his whole turntable setup, his whole everything, I would just kill to go to Lavelle's house and just hear some music. By the way, guys, I'm so sorry for the background noise that you will hear during this video, because they're doing some construction across the street, and it's been going on for a whole year now, and there's never a good time to record. I do other work in which I have to record videos, and it's just never a good time. So in terms of my actual paid work, I have to do a lot of that stuff in the night, the audio recording stuff in the night, so that I can take advantage of the quiet. But I'm just in the vibe to do, kind of feeling the vibe right now to talk to you guys and get on here. So I want to just ride that wave while I have it before I get back into doing some work. So yeah, let me share with you what I've gotten recently, and what I've been listening to recently, and just a couple of thoughts that I've been having of late. One of which is, well, how do I talk about music? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's this thing I've been thinking about recently. How do you talk about music? Meaning that part of my challenge, I suppose, is that obviously I'm interested in the historicity, the facts, the empirical data, the context of music, right? That I listen to. I want to know, when was it made, under what conditions, all of those factual things that give it that really important historical context. Very important things to know, right? But for me, I guess what I've been thinking about recently is the fact that, gosh, for me, when I think about music, and I wish there was a way of translating that inner subjective feeling. I suppose we all feel that, right? But I guess for me, I am so interested in what happens on this sort of inner subjective level when I listen to music, and that can become, I suppose, its own navel gazing. I mean, how do I sit down here and explain explain the unexplainable, really, in terms of just how music affects me, the absolute euphoria that I feel, that I really wish I could find a way of just translating. It's like I could sort of just beam it out to you guys, in a sort of non-verbal kind of way, but the contours of feeling, and of spirit, and of memory, and my best insights come when I'm listening to music, you know what I'm saying? And it really is a very spiritual thing for me, listening to music. I mean, I know I tend to belabor this point, but it just is. So I guess I'm challenged sometimes by what is there to talk about, really? How do I verbalize this process that is so rewarding, that is so deeply euphoric and so moving? How do I express that to you? You can't. No one can, really. But the things that happen while I listen to music, they're so. Anyway, yeah. So that's a kind of a challenge there for me sometimes. But yeah, let's get into what I've gotten recently. Let me not bore you with my subjective sort of navel gazing. All right, so I think, gosh, it's been a long time, right? So I think that in about early April, I got a copy of Lee Morgan's Search for the New Land, one of my favorite records, perhaps my favorite Lee Morgan record. So it's a toss-up for me, really, in terms of what's my favorite Lee Morgan. It's a toss-up between this and The Cooker, but this has an edge for me in the sense that it's the context of this record that makes it so special, in that it really is Morgan's work after his sort of spiritual and musical re-emergence, after he's had this really harrowing, extremely harrowing personal time that would have seen him trying to recover from his drug addiction, right? And so it's very special. It starts out with Search for the New Land, this 15-minute extremely poignant, redemptive and hopeful song that is just something that, if you've gone through a hard time in your life, you understand this idea of spiritual renewal. You hear that spiritual renewal in this incredibly humane song. And so it's an incredibly just humane piece of music. And it's really just grounded in his own personal story. So this record, 64, so it would have been, Lee Morgan coming out of this period. He produced the Sidewinder, and he also would have recorded this in 64. And so very special record to me. Of course, it's Lee Morgan on trumpet, Wayne Shorter on sax, Grant Green on guitar, Herbie Hancock on the keys there, Reggie Workman on the bass, and Billy Higgins on the drums. So just love this record so much. And another favorite on this record really is Mr. Kenyatta. And so one of my favorite tracks, on this record, it's so special. It's so... the context really is that it's Mr. Kenyatta is Jomo Kenyatta, the Kenyan leader, car passing there, the Kenyan leader there, who would have really ushered in Kenya's independence, and so their independence from British colonialism. And so I think Kenyatta became PM in 63, and then went on to become president of the Republic in 64. So while Lee Morgan was recording this, that's when you would have been having all of these liberation struggles and these independence movements in the continent of Africa. And so, it's interesting how that would have become part of Morgan's mindscape. I'm aware that Morgan was someone who would discuss global political happenings, and being a black man in America, I suppose, he would have been really interested as well in just the sort of state of black peoples globally, and just what this independence, Kenyan independence, and this kind of triumph of Mr. Kenyatta, what that would have meant for him, and in his own sort of personal and political consciousness, right? So there's that piece, the context of it. Of course, Mr. Kenyatta, the person, you know how these leaders are. They have their own controversies in terms of just, their leadership and all of that. I mean, which leader doesn't really have those controversies? And so Mr. Kenyatta, no doubt. But it's that moment of sort of, triumph, and that tone of triumph is so evident in this music, in this song musically. The song is sort of cocky, kind of arrogant, sort of triumphant, very percussive. And to me, what makes this tune, Mr. Kenyatta, there on side B, is Wayne Shorter. I mean, that interplay between Lee Morgan and Wayne Shorter at the end of the song and toward the closing of the song just makes it, I play it over and over and over again. So Wayne Shorter puts this song and this entire record just really up there for me. I mean, it's such a treat to just hear that Wayne Shorter sax trumpet interplay, that conversation between him and Morgan on that track, Mr. Kenyatta. It has a sort of, to me, being Jamaican, it has this sort of almost kind of quasi dancehall vibe. It just kind of head bopping, kind of like, yeah, it feels that way to me. And so I just love this record. And my two favorite songs on an incredible record are, first one, Search for the New Land, and also, of course, Mr. Kenyatta. So love this record. Anything Lee Morgan is just a treat for me. And speaking of Lee Morgan, I will show you. I also picked up Here's Lee Morgan. Now, this would have been originally on VJ Records. I think it was released in 1960. And this is just a specimen, just a fine specimen of just classic, solid hard bop, right? And so it starts out with Terrible T. Just a fantastic hard bop specimen by Lee Morgan in 1960. So there's Lee Morgan on trumpet. There is Jordan there on sax, Wynton Kelly on piano, Art Blakey on drums, and Paul Chambers on bass on this one here. So I just decided to pick this one up too, and I've been enjoying this one as well. All right, so let's go on. All right, so what else did I pick up in the last couple of weeks since I've seen you guys? I did go for a copy of Moan, a classic record that we all know and we all love, and that is a fantastic entryway into jazz, and just a classic standard specimen of just hard bop, And so yeah, this is a Blue Note 2021 release, and so I did pre-order mine, and it came, and I've been enjoying it and relishing it. I'm just doing the rounds here for those who may not know, but it's the Lee Morgan on trumpet, Benny Golson on the sax. It is Art Blakey, of course, on drums, Jimmy Merritt on bass, and we have Bobby Timmons on piano. So, just delicious ear candy that anyone should own this record. You'll not be sorry that you did, and great quality here. Mastered from the original tapes here by Kevin Gray, and so just worth having. I'm really enjoying it, as I would. I mean, I've always loved this record, so it's nice to have a good copy of it now. So I finally picked up a copy of Crescent, Coltrane. I've kind of always shelved this album. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to really pay it a lot of attention until I just get myself a physical copy. I've heard it before, but I haven't really listened to this record before the last couple of weeks here. Meaning in the way that I would consider it listening, really deep listening. And so, it's the Coltrane Quartet, McCoy Tyner on keys, Jimmy Garrison on bass, and Elvin Jones on drums. This is recorded in '64 and is really known to be this kind of precursor to A Love Supreme. for me, each Coltrane record is an entity unto itself. Really, it's a unique personality, the record, and you have to sort of get to know it. And so, the ones I have in my collection, the Coltranes in my collection, I know them so deeply and so personally, kind of note for note. I know where Steve Davis is going on that bass. I know where Jimmy Garrison is going on the bass. I know what McCoy Tyner will do next. I just, you know the contours and the tones and the rhythms, and just it's such a part of you after a lot of intense listening. And so, this one I am getting to know. And, what a subtle, meditative, sensitive, thoughtful, incredible piece of music that just deserves me, and any Coltrane record really, but it deserves me, it warrants me, car passing, it warrants me really just taking that time to get to know it. So we are in this sort of dating phase, me and this record, where we're having a conversation. I'm getting to know it. It's amazing, that extremely intuitive relationship between Coltrane and McCoy Tyner and Jimmy Garrison and Elvin Jones. It's amazing just how intuitive their interaction and their engagement of each other, their conversation. Wise one, sublime in its simplicity, really. Lonnie's Lament, soulful, sort of mournful, sublime piece of music. And then on the drum thing now, Elvin Jones gets to really do his thing. But it just has this soulful, lamenting, mournful quality that just goes right to your soul. It just hits that place inside of you. And it might be one of the more accessible entries into Coltrane's sort of discography, really. It has this sort of consistent mood, this soulful, melancholy kind of, there's a consistent mood to this record, really, for the most part of it. But Coltrane always gets me thinking. His work always gets me thinking about my own work, my own creativity, my own artistry. We're each artists in our own right. Whatever we do, whatever your field of discipline is, you create something, you make something. And so, Coltrane always gets me thinking about that piece, that, we are just instruments through which this energy expresses something that is bigger than us. It just expresses through us. And I just think Coltrane was such a sort of testament to that, in how he played his music, in how he delivered to us his art, this conduit for this sort of what I would call just divine expression. And so, I don't know. I mean, you can talk about Coltrane obviously for, hours and hours on end, but I truly just believe that Coltrane was reaching toward this broader dimension of being that is common to us all as a species. This sort of universal spirit that we are all a part of, that transcends however we want to sort of identify as, whether it's our skin color or whatever else we think makes us who we are. It's just this reaching toward that deeper, broader dimension of being that is just so inspiring, and it's so spiritual. And so Crescent is really it's a spiritual yearning that I suppose really just comes to that big crescendo in A Love Supreme. And so I'm getting to know this record now, Crescent. Coltrane always inspires a lot of reflection on just what it means to be a human being creating, for me. What does it mean to be in my life and to be expressing something that is bigger than me through what I myself would give to the world. And so, you could go on about this record, but 64 Coltrane Quartet, just brilliant. If you want this record, just go get it. I mean, if you haven't gotten it yet, like me, I only recently got this record, just go get it. I mean, it's Coltrane, and you just love this very spiritual, yearning quality if you're into that. So go get this. Oh yeah, it's quite heavy as well. This is a 97 issue. So, and I think it's quite heavy. It's like 200 grams. It's quite heavy. All right, so what else do I want to show you guys? I did finally get myself a copy of Sam Cooke live at the Harlem Square Club in 1963. I've been on the hunt for this for a very long time. I finally got it. Not an original copy of the record, but very good record nonetheless. And so, yeah, I mean, what do you say? It's just that gritty live Sam Cooke that just hits you right in the freaking gut, man. I mean, it's so, what do you say? It's soulful, it's gritty. It just, I mean, you're gonna have that permanent face on because it's just so, it's so good. And I love the way that this live performance builds from side one to side two. It just builds and just, makes this beautiful crescendo by the time you reach to Nothing Can Change This Love and Having a Party. So yeah, I mean, if you love Sam Cooke, just get this record. I mean, it just goes without saying. I'm a huge Sam Cooke girl. I love Sam Cooke, and it's a real treat to get this. And, of course, getting back to that context in terms of just life and living. When I hear this record, I often think about the fact that Sam Cooke would have been, he would have died just a year later, life, but he's put down for us to have just him at his most soulful, his most passionate, nothing like just a live Sam Cooke there, that you just don't get this in the studio, obviously. I mean, it's just that super gritty, super raw. The emotion is just so intoxicating that, yeah, I mean, you see what I'm saying? How do I explain this to you? It's impossible. All right, so that's what I've gotten recently. I mean, I have been just doing a lot of studying as usual, sort of just, finding new music. I have a lot of stuff coming, which I'll share with you guys. But yeah, I mean, I've been listening to, as usual, the usual suspects right now. Right now is a jazz time for me. I must confess, it really is mostly a jazz time for me. Listening to Coltrane, ballads a lot. That's a staple in my home, really. But also, I have been kind of revisiting some Aretha's. Sort of saying, kind of listening to a couple of her records that have just been, there, and I haven't really touched them for a while. Some are comp records, really. Aretha Franklin, still in the kind of old rap there. Aretha Franklin's Greatest Hits Volume 2. This is on Columbia, 68. Just classic songs, Every Little Bit Hurts, just Mockingbird, songs we just love from Aretha Franklin. So I've been kind of putting this on and just getting back into some Aretha, a little kind of diversion from the jazz. And then, oh yeah, this record, Aretha Franklin Soul 69. This actually is an original copy of this record, but it is so, this fusion, this jazz blues fusion, this jazz treatment that we have in this record, it's such a treat. I just love it so much, so she's really doing these covers, right? Ramblin', Crazy He Calls Me, Bring It On Home to Me, but it's just this beautiful jazz treatment with this blues, this soul blues jazz treatment that is so rewarding and so, just wonderful. I mean, it's Aretha, so anything Aretha does, you listen to as well. Of course, if you are an Aretha fan, but I really enjoy this, and so I'm like, you know what, Tara, you should kind of listen to some more Aretha, the ones that you've had in your collection for some time, and just kind of you know, revisit some records that you haven't listened to in a while. So I've been kind of doing that in terms of Aretha, or trying to get back into that. And then on that same vein, today I sing the blues on Atlantic, no, Columbia, excuse me. This is on Atlantic, Soul 69. This is on Columbia. This is a comp record. Today I sing the blues. So, you know, you have, in fact, there is some overlap between all of the records I've shown you. I think, yeah, she does Today I Sing the Blues on Soul 69. Yeah, I'm correct. And so, yeah, you know, just more Aretha that I've been just listening to. You can't go wrong with that. So yeah, you know, that's what's been up with me. Am I back in focus yet? Yeah. Yeah, I just have been really just knee deep into just jazz and study, and I really enjoy people's videos. And thank you so much for just sharing all of your knowledge, all of your passion. You know, VC, you're some great people, and I so enjoy that you also take the time to just sit down, and I learned so much from you. And you know, that's how we really just collectively enjoy music. So even if I'm not coming on here, I'm still very much here, and I'm enjoying your content, and I'm leaving comments, and I'm just so grateful for everyone who, you know, takes time to leave thoughtful reflections and comments and share their passion and enthusiasm for this wonderful thing we all have in common, music. And so I'm just so thankful for the great channels out there, and I'm going to continue to do my shout outs at the beginning of each video to just show some appreciation for those people who are just making a difference to me in my corner of the world. So have a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world, and until next time, talk soon. Bye.